Hello, everybody. Today, I know I set this up at the last minute, but I completely forgot to set it up earlier. Today, I do have a live. It was supposed to start at 7 o'clock about the Flemish Masters. So, after this commercial break, we're going to start talking about arts. So, this is our continuation of this week's, live videos. So, we'll be back after this quick commercial break, folks. Hello. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope that you guys will enjoy tonight's last minute live setup. Hello, Mylene. How are you? I hope you're doing well today, and thank you everybody for being here today with me. So, like I said, today's live video will be about Flemish Masters, particularly Flemish Masters in painting. So these are paintings that you probably have seen, and artists that you might have heard about, but we're going to go into in a little bit more in depth. But again, guys, I usually don't go into extreme details, but I do want you guys to at least get a basic introduction on the topic. And I will, of course, be showing you guys some photos and so forth from a particular artist. So, to give you guys a general idea of the Flemish Masters are considered as artists from what is now Belgium, the more southern part of Belgium, particularly Flanders and Wallonia. And they basically peaked in the 15th and 16th centuries, but they started in the 14th century until today. Although today it's more considered more of a revival period. Flemish art in general has been considered. Hello, the Bud Files. Thank you for being here today, and I hope you're doing well. And Mylene, I hope you're doing well as well. Hello, Lasted Livingston. I hope you're doing well as well today. Thank you guys for being here. I am talking about Flemish artists. Okay, guys. So Flemish art in general has been categorized into 8 different styles. So there's not necessarily one particular style that I'll be talking about tonight, but just really Flemish artists overall. And I'll be talking about later on one particular artist named Peter Paul Rubens. But right now, I'm going to give you guys a quick introduction on the topic. Sorry if you hear a little bit of background noise. I'm just also checking my notes because of one of the things I felt like I needed to start doing was starting to take some more notes and more detailed information. So the different periods of Flemish art in general started off with the early Netherlandish art, which basically was the beginning of the Flemish Masters. So it started in 1400 until about 1523. Then it went to Renaissance paintings, that which started about 1520 to about 1580. Then into Northern Mannerisms, 1580 to 1615. The Dutch Golden Age, which was 1615 to 1702. The Flemish Baroque period, which was 1608 to 1700. And the Hayes School, which was 1860 to 1890. Of course, the Amsterdam Impressionism, which is 1885 to 1930. And the Stilge, which is 1917 to 1931. Excuse me. So basically, Flemish art has really been more traditional type of art. So lots of portraitures, lots of realism, really sticking to classical art, and really not, really, excuse me, other than the more recent Amsterdam Impression, really sticks to really trying to be loyal to what you see in real life. There are basically three art movements for the Flemish artists, the Flemish masters. You have the primitive or late Gothic paintings, which is basically characterized by miniature paintings, so small paintings. Some of the artists in that movement are Jan van Eyck, Hans Memling, Hugo van der Goes, and Robert Campin. Then you have the Renaissance painting, which was more the 16th century, and it was influenced by the Italian Renaissance. Here you have Peter Bruegel the Elder, that was really the representative of this particular movement. And then, of course, you had the last art movement of the Flemish Masters, which was the Baroque movement. And that's really when you see that Flanders was ruled by Spain, because Spain conquered part of what is, like I said, now Belgium. And a lot of the artists fled southern Belgium to northern Belgium. And the ones that stayed really were influenced by, of course, their Spanish rulers. And at one point, of course, when Catholicism also became or is being revived, that also became a big influence in their lives as well. Um, so basically, the three big artists that you'll know from the Flemish Masters, which one of them we'll talk about a little bit later on, like I said, is of course Peter Paul Rubens, then Peter Bruegel the Elder, and Van Eyck. Um, Flanders also refers to the county of Flanders, Flanders and not necessarily the city. So it's really more the Low Countries, which is Tornesis and the Duchy of Brabant. So you'll pardon me if I don't pronounce these names um, very well. I don't speak Flemish, so it's not my native tongue. So of course I'm going to mispronounce a lot of these names wrong. The decline of the Flemish masters really started in about the 16th century due to the 80-Year War, which started in 1648. And there was, like I said, an attempt to revive um, the tradition of Flemish masters in the 18th century, due in part to the Belgium Revolution, which of course wanted to see Belgium have its independence and, of course, revive the Belgian culture and language of Flemish, etc. So we're going to start talking a little bit of Peter Paul Rubens as well as an example of Flemish artists, because of course I want to give you guys a visual example of what I'm talking about, so that's not just words in the video. So just give me a second here. I'm going to share my screen with you guys now, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. Give me a second here. Of course, guys, I depend a lot on Wikipedia, and as usual, I don't go into very big details. My goal isn't to bore you guys to death with all this. I'm hoping that this is informative and that you guys will find this enjoyable. And as usual, if there's an artist or art tradition or something that you guys want me to talk about, you can always suggest it. It might not be that I'm going to do it, but if it's interesting, if it's something that I find that, hey, this is worth me talking about, I will do it. So this is, of course, Peter Paul Rubens, who was born, as you can see, on June 28th, 1577, and passed away on the 30th of May, 1640. He was an artist and a diplomat, which is, sometimes surprising to hear, but yes, he was a diplomat at one point. As I indicated earlier, he was from southern Netherlands or Belgium. So basically, in order to be qualified as a Flemish master, you have to be from southern Netherlands. Basically, you have to be from that part of the region. You can't just be Belgic or from another country or part of the world. They're really fairly strict on it. So you really have to be from the southern part of the Netherlands or modern day Belgium. So basically, his works referred a lot to of the aspect of the erudite aspects of classical and Christian history. So they're really trying to talk about, those strong traditions and the strong history. So you're talking a lot about Greek mythology, Christian faith, etc. Right? They're not just talking about anything and everything, and they're really trying to be as realistic as possible as well. So even if you're talking about something that is mythological or fictive, it's really they really try to make it in such a way that you almost feel like you're talking to somebody who's real and who could jump out of the painting at any point. And of course, he uses the Baroque style, which emphasizes movement, color, sensuality, and then also followed by Germanic Counter Reformation, which is basically the Catholic revival. So he really, at one point, tried to do one thing, and then once the Catholic faith became more and more important, they tried to represent the Bible. And again, that's something pretty typical in Europe for a while, where you're really trying to represent the Bible and Bible stories. So you'll often see sceneries of Jesus' birth, the nativity, or maybe when Jesus was going against different things and so forth. So you're really trying to represent Catholicism and Christianity in general. He created altarpieces, portraits, landscapes, and did history paintings of mythological and allegorical subjects. So history paintings are about telling a story using landscape, portrait, still life, rather than just being a look. So again, it's he's really trying in his paintings, he's actually trying to tell a story, which, like I said, are really stories about the Bible, right? He's really trying to tell you this is the life of Jesus and the different events in the Bible, etc. So, Noah's Ark and the Great Flood, or Adam and Eve, or whatever the case might be, right? He's really trying to portray the life of a typical Christian and the things that they might believe, or if it's a mythological event, he's really trying to use the symbols, the colors, all of that to tell you a story. So it's not necessarily about the style of the paintings that's important. It's really about the story and really using the symbology and the allegory to tell that story. So people knew that like red means something or a fish means something, etc. So by having a red fish, you're telling a very specific story, for example, right? So it's really about telling people a story through this image, and it's often a story based, like I said, on the Bible, right? So he had a classical education as a humanist scholar, and was knighted by not only Prince Philip IV of Spain, but also Charles I of England. His parents were one Rubens and Maria Pipelinks. And again, guys, I'm sorry if I have, if I'm mispronouncing the names. I don't speak Flemish. Unfortunately, I wish I could be multilingual, but I have enough trouble with French and English. So I'm not going to come out here and try to pretend like I'm multilingual and can speak Flemish fluently without any trouble. So pardon me, my Belgium audience or Belgian friends. I'm sorry if I mispronounce those words, but hopefully one day I can speak the language or have somebody next to me. No, it's pronounced this way, say it like this, etc., etc. Hey, Cabby, how you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well tonight. Well, it's tonight for me. It's probably early morning for you, but thank you for being here either way. And I hope that you enjoyed this show. I'm talking about Flemish Masters right now, as you can see on screen. I'm talking about one particular Flemish artist, which is Peter Paul Rubens. Okay, so this won't be a very, very long live, guys. You know how I go. It's maybe 20, 30 minutes, 45 at most. I really just want to come out here, talk a little bit with you guys, present an idea or thought, and really just hopefully give you guys that little bit of interest in learning more about art or artists in general, and give you that sort of spark of curiosity for yourselves and be able to research something more for yourselves, right? Hopefully, hopefully. But even if you don't care about none of what I'm talking about and you're just here to support me, I'm highly appreciative of it no matter what, anyways. Okay, so his father was a Calvinist Protestant, essentially, but Reuben was baptized at St. Peter's Church in Catalonia, sorry. And he was the advisor of Anna Saxony. So that's where you can see that he had, that basis of ended up being a diplomat for other countries. But also just the fact that he was an artist and he was being paid for his art, that was the other reason. So those two worlds sort of intertwined. So a lot of people would hire him, a lot of diplomats, because when you really think of it, the people that could often afford having somebody paint you were, politicians, were people of the royal family. So there were people not only who had money, but also had power. So since he was, in many different places, spoke different languages, had a good name, a good family, and so forth, he was in a perfect position to become a diplomat and use that to his advantage, not only to get work as a diplomat, but get work as an artist as well. Reuben was deeply Catholic, so even though his father was a Protestant, Reuben was baptized Catholic and was very much Protestant. Again, that reflected in his later works as well. And he was the apprentice of Thomas Verheid. Verheid. So again, guys, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. I don't speak Flemish. I don't speak Belgium. It's not my native tongue. I'm sorry if I mispronounce anybody's names here. I don't intend on offending anybody. He also studied under Adam van Hort and Otto van Veen. And of course, like many artists of his time, when you are learning, you copy other people. So it was typical to copy the art of other artists. So that's why a lot of times, take the Mona Lisa, for example, a lot of the students of, you know, would copy the Mona Lisa or would copy other well known artists or artwork in order to practice a certain technique or certain, get the right color or something. And that's why it was important to find the right master and as an apprentice, because you really want to learn from the best, and you learn from the best by doing what they did, right? By copying the same things that they did. So that's why certain things were so well known, because there's certain things that are considered as classic, as the standard, as this is the best of the best in, for whatever domain, whatever art form you're talking about. But also because there's certain things that, because of symmetry, maybe the color, maybe the standards of the time, the country, they were considered the golden standard, the thing that, okay, this is, if you can do this, you're an excellent artist, right? So you really had to make sure that you were able to use those same techniques that that artist who is the standard was doing as well. And you can only learn those standards by copying them, right? Because in many cases, you might not, that artist might have passed away 100 years ago, 200 years ago, X amount of times years ago. So you may not be able to learn under that artist directly. So you have to copy their work. You have to go to wherever their work is and sit there and copy it over and over again until you learn. Okay. So he spent 8 years in Italy as well, practicing his art, developing his connections as well. Because again, as an artist, he was also, connected to wealthy patrons, who were hiring him as an artist and paying him for his works. Um, He also in Italy he studied because of course Italy and Greece since it's nearby. That's where the standard Italian and Greek classical art was really the gold standard for a long time for a lot of artists and just general like arts and education. You had to learn classic Greek and classic Roman artists or arts or religion, etc. Um, the most famous copy that he did was of Gravianjo's, Grav, Gravaggio's uh, embodiment of Christ. Okay, so that was one of his bigger copies that he's done. Okay, he obviously traveled, like I said, because of his work as a diplomat and as a paid artist. But he went returned to Antwerp, where he designed and moved into a home that he built and designed for himself. Okay, his works were commissioned by many different people, including Marie de Medici. Okay, but unfortunately, he passed away of heart failure. Okay, um, in Antwerp in the year he died on the 30th of May, 1640. So in 12 days is when he passed away. So yeah, yes, Les Livingston, how are you, Les? I think this is the first time that I see you here with us. I'm glad to have you here. So that was my quick little talk about Flemish artists, but I'm going to quickly show you guys some of the work of Ruben that we were talking about a little bit quickly here. So I'm just going to go down here and show you a couple of his works. And this is just the Wikipedia page, guys. Like I said, I'm not looking to give you guys all the in-depths and know all the little secrets of him. You guys are more than welcome to look up all of this stuff for yourselves here. So this is one of the paintings that he did. And as you guys can see, this is basically the, the whole point of the Flemish artist is not to embody a particular style or a particular look. It's really to tell a story. So as you can see here, you're seeing a story of, again, by the title of the painting, the fall of Pathion. Pathion. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. But basically, you're really seeing, of course, a battle here. So it's all about telling a story here. It's all allegory, and it's really, when you're talking about God or gods or ancient Greek mythology or whatever, you're really trying to talk about the daily life of a regular man and trying to make it sort of above and beyond in order to aspire as human beings for something bigger and better, something beyond us, but also to have. Oh, it's lasted. Okay, there you go. I was like wondering, Les, this is a new channel. Okay, it's your quote unquote alter ego. Not a problem. Not a problem. Gotcha. But so as you can see, these paintings are really here to tell you a story. Rather than just saying, okay, it's Joe Blow who's down the corner, which is like most people are like, oh, who cares? I don't really, whether Joe over there pumping gas is, going through a life struggle. Not too many of us are going to care or really look at that story as something inspiring and wanting us, that really touching us to change. But something like this, when it's like, hey, it's Achilles going in a great battle, or Paris fighting for his true love, or these grandiose stories, it tends to be a lot more inspiring. It tends to be a lot more, pushes us a lot more to want to change, to want to do something different about our lives, and to sort of connect to something bigger than us, right? So that's why these stories tend to be, allegories and tend to be about gods and about, ancient times and the things that, was done way back in the days and so forth. So that's why oftentimes you're not going to see stories about, the common man per se, right? It is really about these typical figures like Achilles, like Paris, like all these, ancient Greek stories and myths that we often hear, which is why a lot of times they are considered as classic because there's always stuff that even today still touches us, still moves us, still inspires us to do other things with our lives than what we, see and do through in our day-to-day lives, right? So yeah, so pretty much that's what I want to say about the Flemish Masters. So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen here. So I don't know if you guys have any particular questions or things that you want me to go into more depth or what have you. But even if you don't, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk about Flemish artists. Tomorrow, of course, and I did find the book. Finally, I will go back to my quiet reading of Game of Thrones. And Friday, I will talk about my movie review. Okay. Saturday, I will have two episodes going live on Saturday. I do have a video that I did make of my schedule for this week. Hopefully, you guys saw that video, but in case you guys didn't, I'll share the link in my video now. So just give me a second, guys. So this is a little quick commercial I made of all the this week's videos, and you know what, I might as well play it for you guys now as well. So just give me a second here while I go find it and then share it with you guys. So just give me a second here. Sorry, here I was talking, and then I realized I was still on mute. So yeah, so that was my little commercial that I made for myself of my upcoming videos for this week. Hopefully you guys like it, and hopefully I will see you guys next a few days for my upcoming lives. And I hope to see you guys out there in the streams. So let's see. Oh, thank you, Les, or Alter Ego. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. I know my lives tend to be fairly quick, but I like to get to the point and not really blah blah too much. Um, but if you have any questions, let me know. Even if you have questions in the review replay of the video, that's absolutely fine. Just leave it as a comment, and I'll respond as quickly as I can. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my little review of Flemish art. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow as well, where I will be quietly reading Game of Thrones. Like I said, I finally found the book, and of course, it was in a very obvious spot. So I'm glad I'll be able to continue with that with you guys tomorrow. And then, of course, as you saw, Friday I'm going to be reviewing the movie Stigmata. Saturday morning is what I'm doing Stigmata. Friday I'm going to be doing a review of chapter 11 of the 48 Laws of Power. And Saturday night I will be learning Spanish on my own. So I hope to see you guys in one of my lives or in one of your lives. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, one way or the other. Les is fine. Okay, great, great. All right, have a good one, guys. So be kind to each other. Make sure to give your loved ones a big hug and kiss. If not for me, at least for yourself. So have a great one, guys. Bye. Au revoir. Ciao.